And then I want to go over two more things where, you know how he said getting high level is pay to win? Yes, it is. But I look at it in a different way where in PvP, gear doesn't matter. It's all about skill, right? And it's solo queue based, so you can't really suck rank 1's cock to get carried. It's solo queue rated and you rank up. As well as Hell mode. In Hell mode, you get equalized eye level gear. It's kind of like Final Fantasy min eye level. And this is where you get titles and statues. I look at games like that, like rank in 3v3 ranking in WoW and mythic rating. And those two, like the gear level doesn't really matter for me. Yes, it's pay to win game, but you cannot pay to win in Hell mode and in PvP. Unless you're literally using third-party website for boosting, which lives on in every single other game that are popular.
Today I want to talk to you all about the drama that's been surrounding Lost Ark in the past week or so, primarily centered around Argos and the honing rate changes or lack thereof. So you guys have probably seen on my channel, there's probably been a couple of videos talking about this, maybe a reaction video you've seen, but I've had a lot of people thinking that I think different things about this. So I'd like to actually sit down and give my real uncut, uncensored, unedited opinion about this and talk about what has happened, what I'm worried is going to happen, and what I hope Amazon and or Smilegate does to
I was
prevent this
nodding
from
at
happening.
chat, by the way.
Basically, for anybody who doesn't really understand what the problem is, their third tier of gear, it's like 1300. 1300 at the beginning is very easy to upgrade, and then you get to about 1340 to 1350 or so, and like the chances of having a successful upgrade for your piece of gear go down drastically. And every single time that you do a chance at it, you roll the dice, you use a exorbitant amount of resources and materials. So you're seeing people that feel like they are compelled to spend a lot of money in order to continue upgrading their character. Now, this has always been the case in the game because it is fundamentally a pay-to-win game to an extent if you consider gear score winning, which I personally do. But the reason why it's been so much of an issue and there's been so much of a focus put on it recently is that a raid came out, Argos, and Argos requires you to have 1370 item level in order to receive the items from him and in order to...
I think they did a bad job of just... Remember when it first came out, I was like, bro, in what company of game says, okay guys, boss is out and it's today, by the way. Remember that? I think they shouldn't have done that. They should have said, it's gonna come out in 2 weeks and give you the date, right? So that people can prep up. I feel like them just throwing it out there was manga. Chad, what is wrong with it? What are you guys doing, man? Yeah, I remember being manga about that part.
To even queue up to fight the boss. So basically, if you don't have 1370, you can't do the boss. And you have the people that are at 1370 that then after 1370, for some reason, it gets easier to upgrade your gear again, or like the chances are higher for succeeding because you're using different resources. So it's kind of like you hit this break point and then it's like a rich get richer situation. So not only are you able to upgrade your gear more easily, but on top of that, now you're also able to just make a lot more money because you're able to access these materials and these items that make your character even more powerful and give you an even larger power advantage over other players comparatively whenever you're looking for groups or things like that. And of course, like matchmaking and Party Finder, you know, the interplay with that, with the different people, and you know, they'll inspect somebody, they'll see if somebody has like X or Y engravings or gear or whatever. And the fact is that if you have access to Argos, you have access to more pieces of gear, and if you have access to a credit card, right, you could also have access to more pieces of gear too. So these things do affect every player, because if you're queuing up into a Party Finder at all, and you have, you know, a random guy who's looking for a fourth person for their party, are they going to pick you, the guy who's like, you know, just barely 1340, or are they going to pick the 1385 whale that has 4 engravings?
Oh my god, 333! We picked that guy for sure, chat.
And all of their gear is legendary. They're always going to pick the other guy over you at a glance, because there's no other frame of reference that they can do to judge you whether you're good or not. So I think this has been something that's become a really big issue, because Lost Ark, I think that this is something that I had heard many times. I had not played the game myself prior to the NA release, but I had heard many times from many people that the game had respected your time much more than a lot of other pay-to-win games that came from Korea, which is something that they have a really
Oh
bad
my, your lineage too looks kind of poggers in the chat, not gonna lie. I don't know if it's the Amazon or Smilegate in control. I feel like it's Amazon because in Korea, I feel like Kim Gang-sun respects a lot. Even the new content was like 5 more eye levels. Like they didn't increase it by a bunch. I feel like it's Amazon, chat. We'll see though. We'll see.
reputation for. So I think that there's a lot of people who made those videos, and people like me who thought those videos were true are thinking, well, wait a minute, we have to overcome this insurmountable thing because you have to get the 1370 to do this boss. But if we spend that much money, it's like you feel like you kind of have to, right? And you have a lot of people that are 1360 and they're pretty much free to play, and they get compelled.
I was 1360. No, sir, 1363, and Argos came out. I played every single day. I have like 500 hours in the game. So that means if you played free to play, you wouldn't have been, maybe you would have been, because I didn't have a tier 3 alt at that time. But after that week, I know a bunch of free to play players got into Argos, but they couldn't do it the first week. I say this because I know a lot of people in my community that plays for free. So if it was a week after that, yes, people hit, but like I said, they should have released Argos after 2 weeks or gave us more materials. I think that would have been the right move. Them dropping Argos with the same day, that was a little bit questionable.
To, you know, spend money to push themselves a little bit more. And I'm sure that there might be a handful of people that reach 1385 without spending any money on the game in order to buy like resources or anything. I think that's possible, but just because it's possible does not necessarily mean that it's reasonable. And so those people have, you know, massive amounts of time, like 12 hours, probably 10 hours a day they're playing a game. On top of that, they have like massive game knowledge. So these are the best of the best of the best, trying as hard as they possibly can. So for a realistic person, it's just a much more realistic thing to do is to spend money, right? And I think that's really created a bad taste in the player base's mouth because they have heard all of these positive things about Lost Ark, how it doesn't like kind of force you into paying money, how it doesn't make you feel like you're one of the have-nots if you don't have a certain item level or whatever. And now the game comes out in North America and we have this distinct class difference. We have this massive class difference between players who are able to either play 12 hours a day and get lucky and understand the game enough to get 1370, and also players that are able to spend a lot of money. For me, I'm not really in either one of those groups. A lot of people in my stream helped me out with materials, etc. But there's really no difference between me and a pay-to-win player, to be honest. I'm not really affected by this as much, but I can see this as being very harmful to the game. And this is an issue that New World ran into as well, which was produced by Amazon Games, is that New World, it released and it had so many glaring problems that took so long to solve that the player base's opinion of the game is already set in stone. People have already decided how they feel about the game, and that's it. It's kind of like what happened with No Man's Sky. How long did it take for them to rebuild the reputation, etc.? And the reason why this concerns me is that I really like Lost Ark as a game. That's why.
Me too, man. I love Lost Ark, chat. 10 out of 10. 저 로아 사랑해요. 진짜 재밌어.
Play it a lot, and I've, you know, done a lot of the side activities, whether it's collecting Mokoko seeds or you know, completing my adventure journal, or just going around to the islands, getting the island souls, etc. Like, this is just something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy the combat, etc. And I don't want to see a game that has so much potential be squandered because of mismanagement. And
yes, well said. 말 잘했습니다, 이거. Yeah, I agree with him completely. Also, I said this in my Discord earlier or yesterday. You know how in World of Warcraft, or like, I'll just compare with World of Warcraft. I don't want to crap on other MMOs. In other MMOs, they make you farm ridiculous amount of shit, right? For example, in BFA, our necklace, we spend all day long grinding for our necklace and corruption, or the last expansion, like Legion artifact weapon, right? We throw a shit ton of time into that, and the next expansion we're gonna replace it with like a blue weapon. It's fucked up, right? But at least in this game, your cards, your like your runes, everything you farm and put in time, these are worth forever, chat. These you keep forever. Same thing with these, everything. So if you farm these, you keep these. And same thing as, what are they, virtue points? Oh my, also it's bad, but yeah, virtue points as well. I think that's nice. I like that. Like, I grind for something and it's worth forever. Does that make sense, chat? But in WoW, you spend a shitload of time getting reputation, shitload of time on your weapon, and then it's gone, dude. It doesn't carry over to the next expansion. Never. But at least in here, like, everything you farm, it stays. I like that. And then I want to go over two more things where, you know how he said, getting high level is pay to win. Yes, it is. But I look at it in a different way, where in PvP, gear doesn't matter. It's all about skill, right? And it's solo queue based, so you can't really suck rank 1's cock to get carried. It's solo queue rated, and you rank up. As well as Hell mode. In Hell mode, you get equalized eye level gear. It's kind of like Final Fantasy min eye level. And this is where you get titles and statues. I look at games like that. 3v3 ranking in WoW and mythic rating. And those two, like, the gear level doesn't really matter for me. Yes, it's pay to win game, but you cannot pay to win in Hell mode and in PvP. Unless you're literally using third-party website for boosting, which lives on in every single other game that are popular, right? And World of Warcraft's filled with boosters. Maybe this game will have it too. I know FF has it too. Bunch of my friends sell. So that one is inevitable. But what I'm trying to say is the pay to win aspect doesn't really apply in the hard content. PvP and Hell mode. Understand, chat? Pay to win players versus non-pay to win. It's how you want to think it through. But for me personally, the people that put in the time in this game will be better than the people that don't play this game every day and just pay to win, right? Because if you play longer, you're organically going to be better. It's like FPS. You give someone a month to play versus somebody that played for a year. The guy that played for a year is going to crush. That's how I think about it. I mean, that should be the normal case. Because the more time you put into it, the better. Okay, sorry, I got lost off track. Let's go back to the video.
I don't really know where this mismanagement is coming from. Is this Smilegate? Is this Amazon? In my opinion, I don't think it's either one. I think it's both of them. I think that probably just collectively it was a bad decision that was made. And I think that Amazon and or Smilegate should come out as soon as possible. So like there's three issues that the game has, right? Issue number one is that Argos came out so early that a lot of players aren't 1370 and they feel like they have to spend money in order to get there. That's issue number one. Issue number two is the fact that there are a lot of other catch-up mechanisms and daily mechanisms that players have in Korea and in Russia that are not available in North America. So for the first month, we didn't have the events. There's also the, I think, Heroic Guardian raids. There's also item level locked Abyss raids. So you go back and you do the old Abyss raids, but you're locked to a certain item level. And then there's also this something called the Bridge too, which I'm not really sure exactly what that is, but it apparently releases with South Vern, which is in a higher item level area that will probably come into the next content patch. So not only are players playing with, oh yeah, the honing rates. That's the third issue. I forgot to mention that. So the honing rates in Korea for these different item levels are much higher. So basically North American players are playing with less resources because they have less available avenues to get those resources from. You know, no bridge, no Heroic Guardians, no Heroic raids. You don't have those. So not only do you have less materials, but your materials statistically upgrade less. So it's like you're getting fucked in two different ways. And I think that's probably the biggest issue that the game has, is that the American player, the Western player's experience is fundamentally different than what a Korean player's experience is in the game. It's almost like they've designed it in a way to make people hate the game. It's just that's the way it feels like to me.
I love the game. Boop. I love the game, chat. I'm having a blast, man. I've been playing every single day.
And I think there's a lot of people that are just tired of it. They're pissed off, they're frustrated,
I'm never tired of it.
and they don't want to play the game anymore. There's already been
I
people
fucking
telling me
love
that they quit
this
playing
game.
the game, they uninstalled it, etc. And I think that the reason why that happens is that whenever you take, you know, that two combinations, right? Like less avenues to get resources, and you're
For me, I haven't had this much fun in a game in a long time. It's just so fun, man. It's just I'd suck this game's cock, man. It's a good
resources
game.
by less, right? You're in like a Great Depression simulator, and a lot of people don't want to play that. Like, why would somebody want to do that? And I've talked to a lot of other content creators who have played Lost Ark on the Russian and Korean servers over the past like week or so, and almost all of them are confused by these changes just as much as I have, just as much as I am. I mean, so I think that really this is something that Amazon and Smilegate need to solve like tomorrow, because every single day that this is in the game, it creates a bad taste in people's mouths, because they see people that have a massive difference in power to them, which unlocks certain content that they don't have access to. So it does create, as I said before, a class system, right? Where like these people are the Argos class of players, where they have access to these things, and getting to 1385 and 1400 is easier for them. But then we have the other people, you know, the peons, the serfs here, that are sitting around in 1340, 1320, and they're primarily free to play, and they can't really get anything out of it. And I think that's really what the most frustrating thing is that you need those people in the ecosystem of a game in order for it to survive. You can't have a game that just survives on a handful of whales, because soon those whales will die off, because they don't have any more krill to eat, which are all the free-to-play players. That's what effectively happens. And so I think it's very unhealthy for the game to create a caste system in this way.
Chad, you guys are all the krills.
Of Lost Ark in other regions is because that it did not do that. So I think that what Amazon and Smilegate need to do is they need to come at this from two different directions. I think that they probably should buff the honing rates for tier 3 content, and not have it have this weird like, oh, it gets harder, then it gets way easier, then it gets harder again over time. And I think they need to do that like immediately, right? And like the next week's patch. I think also they should come out with an apology or something like that, acknowledging that this was a mistake, because I think the reason for that is that a lot of times, like, this is the first like post-release content patch that we've gotten. So the first impression that people get of this game is that, wow, I have to spend money, and they're releasing content that only people that are 12-hour-a-day players, that are veterans and or whales can get access to. What the fuck is in it for me? And I know you can very easily say that, oh, well, you know, you can just enjoy, you know, playing the, you know, the casual content and just do it as it comes and everything like that. You're not addressing their concerns. You're just telling them that the way that they feel is wrong. And I think that the way that those people feel is not wrong. I think that a lot of people play video games because it is an escape from real life being pay to win. Real life is a, you know, it's a pay to win game.
That's very true, Chad. Real life is pay to win, man. Any tier 1 Andes IRL? I think I'm like tier 0.5 IRL.
Matter your the school you went to matters, the country you grew up in matters, the amount of money your parents make matters, what you look like matters, how attractive you are, how tall you are, how smart you are. I guess how smart you are also translates over to video games too, but all the other ones kind of don't. And so in a video game, I think...
How do I get tier? I don't know. What is real life tier, chat? I guess like house, car, nice job, nice cock. Nice cock is like tier 0.5. Nice job is tier 1. Car is tier 2. House is tier 3. And then you gotta hone. Dude, we played this game so long, we're honing like forever. Holy shit. Holy shit, dude. Yeah.
A lot of people view it as, to some degree, a great equalizer. And whenever you have something that's so just blatantly class dividing, like something like Argos, for example, you really attract a lot of resentment from those people, because, as I said, I think a lot of people play video games because it is that even playing field, because it is that place where they don't have to be, have some rich person lording over their power, etc. And I think that's why so many people had so much hope with Lost Ark, and that's why so many people are also very upset about this emotionally. Because
Okay, another reason why a lot of people had hope in Lost Ark is because, World of Warcraft sucks cock. A lot of the MMOs suck cock. All the MMO players are looking for a new home. And Lost Ark was the home, man. I'm having a blast, though. Literally having a blast.
they feel like they've been betrayed and misled. And again, I said they need to solve it with two different things. They need to solve it with an increase to the honing rates, and they also need to solve it with adding in that extra content like the heroic guardian raids and the abyss raids. I think that fundamentally that is a better gameplay experience than expecting people to play multiple alts and then repeat the exact same content over and over and over on an alt that they might not even really care about playing as much as their main, but they feel like they have to so they can funnel resources to their main character. I find this to be a very contrived form of gameplay.
I'm a
and
good
something
student.
that I don't want to participate in. And if it was up to me and I was playing solo and not spending any money, I would have probably just stopped playing at about 1320 item level or 1340, maybe done some of the collection stuff or the life skill type stuff, and then I would have just stopped playing the game until they made the game more fun to play and more fair. So I think there's a lot of people in my position, and there's also a lot of people that are in tier 1, tier 2, thinking about playing the game, etc. And they hear the problems that I'm talking about and the problems that other people are talking about, experiences, and they think to themselves, you know what, maybe I might not play this game. Or, you know what, I don't want to invest even more into this game because at the end of the day,
the sweater
this
looks
is gonna be the
really
position that
pretty.
I'm
I
gonna be
want
in
one.
because this is what these guys are running into now, and I'm going to run into the same thing in a month. Amazon/Smilegate. I don't care who's at fault. I don't care about arguing. Is it Amazon's fault or Smilegate's fault? I don't give a shit. I just want it fixed. I think that whoever is in charge needs to do two things. Number one, increase the honing rates for tier 3. Number 2, make the other content that players have in Korea and in Russia that allows them to get more resources without having to use alts, put those in the game. Put the heroic abyss dungeons in the game. Put the heroic guardians in the game. And put whatever the bridge is in the game too. These things are core to the everyday gameplay loop, and I think they will just make the everyday player's experience better because it will give them more options and more things to do. A lot of times I'll log on, I'll do my chaos dungeons, I'll do my guardians, and then I'll be pretty much out of stuff to do for the day unless I want to go find some random island thing to do or whatever else.
Yeah, what do you guys want more? Because to me, having both of them seems like a lot to ask for. I feel like that's a lot to ask for increase and more resources. If we could pick one, what would you guys want? Increase hone or more content to get more juice? More mass. Okay, because that's what I exactly said yesterday in my Discord. I was like, instead of increasing hone, I feel like they should just slowly add the content and maybe event sprinkle. And then after a little bit, then increase the honing chance. Because if they throw both at the same time, I feel like that's a lot. That's a lot. And I know a lot of people up there were complaining like, oh, I'm doing daily all day long. If they add more stuff in, I'm going to be like even more overwhelmed. And yeah, it's true. When I first started this game, I was overwhelmed too because there's so much systems. And it's hard to say, man. It's a lot of mixed communication for sure. Yonda, thank you for the 30-month appreciate, and everyone that was saying hello. Sorry if I didn't get to say hi. Is my alerts dead today? Oh, I didn't even have it on. Sorry. Increase hone. Case is being negative.
Savix,
Well,
Red Paladin.
I'm
The
overwhelmed
best
because I play
paladin in the
7
universe,
characters.
of course.
Yeah, I can see that. It's an MMO, not a single player game. There's supposed to be progression. Yeah, I think Asmongold knows that too, because there was another video I watched where he said having a time-gated wall is healthy for an MMO because you don't want like veteran Andes to beat the game in one day. Come on, let's be real, guys. There's already people with 1,200. What's the Mokoko max? There's a lot of people with max Mokokos already, max skill points. there's a lot of people that rush it, right? That's including me. I like to rush too, but it's supposed to be played over time, so they can't just give out all the content, right? They gotta like pace it out. But what everyone's trying to say is they need to plan out the pacing better so that people can be happy. And I definitely agree to that. I definitely agree to that. So if they could plan it out better, give us the dates instead of throwing Argos like right off the bat, that'll be good. That'll be good. Okay, let's finish off the video. Catering to casual is ruined. Well, I see that. I see that. I can see that. Let's finish this. I'm gonna turn it off.
I don't think that it's a problem, and I think it would just simply make the game better. There's a lot of people out there that I think agree with me, and I'd hope that Amazon can get this message as soon as possible before the game starts attracting an even worse reputation. I think that every single day that this is an issue, it will be bleeding.
Yes, this is another thing. I wanted to mention this. Good call out. It took Korea 3 years to get this content, and we wanted a month. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I feel like everyone's just rushing and asking for. We got tier 1, 2, and 3. That's why we have so many systems like tripod and great. Like we had to learn a lot, right? And people want that even faster, which is like kind of Monka-esque, man. Monka-esque. I mean, I like rushing, but I feel like it's a little too fast. So it'll be nice to see them communicate and give us updates. That's what I want.
Bleeding players, bleeding respect, bleeding integrity, and the faster that they come out to stop it, the faster they stem that bleeding and actually start healing that wound, and we can actually start having a better game. So that's pretty much all I've got. It's been a really big problem, I think, and I think also for a lot of people it is true that this is mainly a perceptual problem. This is something that only affects 1% of the player base. However, I think that it is demoralizing for a lot of the player base as well, and it makes them not want to continue in the game because they know where it ultimately leads. And I think that's a very big point of investment with MMOs, and that is why I think it needs to be solved immediately. Because you don't want to have people get demoralized and think, what's the point? I'm not going to whale. I'm never going to get there. Hopefully some people from Amazon or Smilegate see this, and we can start seeing the game actually improve.
Thank you for translating. Why are people refusing to sympathize with people stuck in dead zone? Just because some people still have plenty to do in the game, there are many that have no content and will quit, just like it happened in Korea. But people quit in Korea because there's no content to do. I feel like there's so much content to do. I literally sit in this game all day long and I have something to do. I just have so much to do. Whether it's skill points, farming, report, what is this called? This is my alt, so obviously it's not going to show anything. But my adventure tome, farming island hearts. I feel like there's a lot for me. And improving in PvP. I was playing a lot of PvP with Amboni and Kaiser. PvP is hella fun. I want to get better at it. I feel like there's so much to do in this game, for me at least, compared to other. Many people quit in Korea when they had the same problem with Smog. We fixed it. Got it. Too much? Yeah. The thing is, in some games, too much is bad, but in here, these are supposed to be done over time. So we don't really need to rush these, right? But we like to rush ourselves because we're weird human beings that like to finish everything and be powerful. So we try to do everything in one day. So that's kind of our fault. But the farming stuff, these are supposed to be done like casually when we have time. So all you really need to do, chat, is your 3 daily quests and 2 Chaos Dungeon and 2 Guardian Raid. And then Abyssals. But you have a whole week to do that.